see Anita Love.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Tony.
Hello. Yeah, Diane, you'll never guess they've got me back into cataloging and circulation.
Oh my goodness, Anita. You're just going to know everything from the inside out.
That's right. That's right. That's why they pay me the big bucks. But it's kind of exciting because I'm learning it all new again, and it's all good. All good.
As long as you continue getting the paycheck.
Yeah, exactly.
We all just play along.
The most important aspect, getting the check.
That's right.
Right.
We've got a few more minutes, so I'm going to wait just a handful of minutes until we start up the training. Has anyone gotten the chance to play with the Simple Reporter on the test server? No?
I looked through everything to try to find any other changes, and there aren't very many circulation changes this time.
No, I mean, you can add your own photos to a listing. There's a handful of changes, but nothing really. I think Simple Reporter is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, and some things in the background that those of us who don't know programming language doesn't mean anything to me.
As far as Frontline goes, I think mostly it's Simple Reporter, and
you can now see in when you check the circulation history, you can see what workstation and who the logged in staff person was for all the different checkouts. That's kind of nice. But otherwise, it's kind of relief, like, oh gosh, I don't have to write pages and pages of instructions and train 80 people how to do this new stuff, because there's nothing new that they really need to know.
There's a few little things. It's nothing really major. Just simple reports will be, I think, nice. Certainly nice for people who don't want to deal with the
complex reporter.
Complex reporter. But that will still be there. Let's see. Oh, no, we got about 2 more minutes. Okay.
So what I understand you to say, Tony, is what we are used to using will still be there?
Absolutely. You can still use the reporter as you know it. It's still there. And for more complex reports, you will probably want to use it. It's just the Simple Reporter interface is going to be usable, and it's going to be for people who aren't very familiar with reports. I think they'll find it much more to their liking. Let's see. It's just about 2 o'clock, so I think we'll get started here. Welcome to everyone who's here. So thankful you came. I think I will go right into the training. I don't know of any, unless someone has some questions about reports that are specific. We'll get right into looking at Simple Reporter. I'm going to share my screen here. And okay. So Simple Reporter, streamlining the reports interface. So, oh, gone a little too far there. Okay. Simple Reporters, as the name implies, is focused on ease of use. Simple Reports interface guides a user through a streamlined reports creation wizard and curtails the extensive options available in the main reports interface. Simple Reporters interface is intended to provide an easy access point for running reports in Evergreen. It is not intended to replace the main reports interface. Users will probably need to use the complex reports for and having said that, most of the simple reports you can run through the new Simple Reporter. I'll ask anyone who is here if you can mute your mic, so I'd sure appreciate it. Unless you have a question, and then please ask your question. I'm always glad to answer questions. So you can locate Simple Reports in the administration drop-down menu. It's right under the old reports tab right here. Simple Reports has two tabs, My Reports and My Outputs. The My Reports tab shows reports that you have created. Those reports are connected to the user account, regardless of workstation. So right now, any report you create, if you have a personal user account, that will not be shareable. That is just going to be a report that you can use. Here at our library, we have a staff account and an admin account. So anyone who creates something in the staff account, that's going to be shared across for all the staff, or creates an admin, that's going to be shared across admin. There's actions that you can do in this tab. New, which of course is create a new report, clone reports, delete reports, and it will delete all associate outputs from that report, and edit reports. This will overwrite the original report, but not change any existing outputs. And I think this is probably the best thing about Simple Reports is you can edit the report. You don't have to go in and clone a report several times to get it down to what you are really looking for. If you've got a report that doesn't quite give you the information you need, you can go back in, edit it, and then get what you need. The My Report tab defaults to sorting by date created descending. To sort differently, click on either the report name or date created column header. Filters are also available for the report name and date created. The My Outputs tab shows outputs from your reports. Outputs are tied to user accounts, regardless of workstation. Refresh manually refreshes the tab to check for new report outputs. Delete outputs deletes the selected outputs. Just like My Reports, you can sort here by report name or finish time. There are certain types of reports you can do in Simple Reports. Under My Report, click the New button, then click to see the drop-down menu. The interface intentionally has shortened a list of report types selected as representative of what most frontline staff would need. So you get circulation reports, collections, you get weeding reports, reports on patrons, and billing reports. creating a report, the first thing you want to do is select your report type. You can also save an unfinished report at any time by naming it and clicking save and close, and then go back to work on it later. A report will not run until output options are set and save and schedule report is selected. The display field tab lets you select the fields and the display order for your report. Depending on which report type you select, a specified set of fields will be available to add to the report. The most commonly used fields for the report type you have chosen are in the first expandable menu. All report types have menu options for common fields and all fields. Select an option from the left-hand menu to expand its list of fields and select the checkbox next to each field that you want to display as a column in your report. Here I've picked owning library and it shows up in field display order. There are some new fields in simple reports. Circ or renew is in circulation type reports. This displays whether a circulation transaction was an original checkout or a renewal checkout. Circulate and holdable, weeding and collection type reports. These use a combination of several pieces of item level information that calculate circulability and holdability. Then in date fields, often date fields will have several built-in display options such as a copy create date time, copy create year, etc. These fields will display the date as described in the field name without needing to use a transform anymore. You can remove a field by clicking the minus button on the left of the field display or by unchecking it from the drop-down menu on the left. You can adjust the display name of a field by clicking in the name box and typing in a new name. The original field name will show below the name box. You can adjust the way data will display by using the transform drop-down. Transform options will vary depending on the fields you have selected, and in some cases will default to a specific recommended transform value. You can use the arrows on the right to move fields up and down the list. Once you've selected your display fields, click on the Output Order tab. This tab allows you to assign individual column sort orders. On the left side of the screen, you can rename columns, adjust transforms, arrange columns in their tabs, the same way you can in the field display order tab. On the right side of the screen, you can independently set sort orders on each column, as well as determine which column should sort first, second, third, etc. The sorting is independent of the column display order, which is an important difference from the standard Evergreen report interface. The Filter tab. This tab allows you to apply filters to your report. Some fields are hidden from display, but available for filtering, and vice versa. Suggested filters are those suggested for the report type generally. Select an option from the left-hand menu to expand its list of fields, and select the checkbox next to each field that you want to use as a filter. You can remove the filter by clicking the minus or remove the check mark. You can adjust the filter by using the drop-down menus, operator, and filter value. And some notes on filters. Where possible, filters and filter values will show user-friendly names rather than database IDs. That's a big plus. If you are filtering on an organizational unit related field like shelving location, you will only see options which are visible to your workstation location. Some Boolean filters like true and false include a both option, which will return results containing either value. And to use a relative date filter like X days ago, select a date field with date, time in its name. Use the age transform, and then choose your interval, hours, days, weeks, months, etc. And then your output options, which are, if you've done any reports, you're familiar with this. You can choose Excel output, comma separated value output, HTML, bar chart, line chart. I usually use the Excel output. You've got an option for email in a report. You can schedule your time. The default on scheduling is like in increments of 15 minutes, but you can change that. And once you click save and schedule report, your report will be saved and either run immediately or scheduled to be run, and you will be taken back to the main simple report interface. If you choose run report now, your report output will be available in the My Outputs tab once the report is completed. So that is covering pretty much all of making a report. Now the outputs, I'll be honest, since the test server does not allow outputs yet, I haven't been able to do much with that. So, from what I've found and what I've looked at, you should be able to, access your output just as you normally would, and it shouldn't cause any problems. Any of you have any questions? Anything you'd like me to cover again? To go back over?
So we aren't able to actually run a report to see how it's going to work start to finish.
Oh, I wish, but no, not yet. I want it to.
I'm wondering if any of the test servers on the community, Equinox has some sandboxes. I wonder if outputs work on theirs.
Well, I know they must be able to access something because they're, if you saw the links I sent in the email, the video they made shows outputs and shows accessing outputs.
The only problem with using their stuff is their database. It probably has 100 items in it. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not very. So.
Yeah. So truly, until this goes live, and I believe that's sometime in February, but I can't remember the exact date. If anyone knows, please feel free to chime in. We will not know as far as how exactly the outputs will react. I mean, I've made several reports in the simple reports. It's pretty straightforward. But I'd really like to see the outputs working and see how it works. So February 15th, okay. So it happens on February 15th. Excellent.
This is a real good start though, Tony. Thank you for breaking this all down.
Yeah. And I recommend also watching the video they did. It's excellent. Going over some of the documentation can be helpful. and playing with it. I would say everyone should really go to the test server and play with making reports on there. About the only downside I see is if you are at a library where each person has an individual sign in, then the reports you're making are only going to be for you. They're not going to be, no one else at your library will be able to use it because they have a different sign in, and that report's not going to be accessible for them. It's only accessible to the person who made it.
Is there going to be an easy way to share reports with someone in your group or with another library? Because I'll have people that I'll have a report and I say, oh, I use this to do this. And then another
Yeah.
librarian says, oh, I'd like to have that in my library. And right now, that's not an easy thing to do.
So if you want to share, it's still going to be a matter of using the more complex reporter. The simple reports, like I was just saying, sadly, you can't even share with someone at your own library if they have a different sign-in. So at the moment, that's the big limitation. Here, like I said, here we have an overall staff sign-in. So if I make a bunch of reports for the staff side, everyone on staff can use them. But if you have individual sign-ins at your library for each person that gets on Webby, simple reports may not be as useful for you at this time.
If you have a common login and other people can see your reports, can they also change your report?
They should be able to do anything with it because it's going to go by login. So if I make a report, anyone else who is on the staff side should be able to adjust it, edit it, run it.
But I left his over in there to dry whatever somewhere. Okay, that's so if anybody goes in there, just let me know. Okay, get it out of the way, all right? You did.
So, so there, I mean, I can see there are downsides to that too, but still, I think it's, once they find a way to share the reports through Simple Report, I think that will be when it really starts off. But right now, that's not an option.
There's always the option too of outlining exactly what filters you have used and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
and
you can.
This is much straightforward. It's straightforward. It simplifies the language some. I think the interface is more user-friendly. So I would not feel that someone would have a problem being guided through this if they needed to create a report with Simple Reports. I don't think they'd have a problem.
Yeah, I really appreciate this, especially since at our location, I'm primarily the one that does the reports, just because most of our other staff has not really been trained in it, and it's been difficult to even try to work with some of the staff to figure out the other reporters. And I know a lot of them do just want to do some simple circulation type reports on their own. And then the other holdback was the fact that if you don't quite know what you're doing as far as like our shared folders and such in the reports, that there could be an issue. And so with this, I like that it is kind of tied to the user.
Yeah, it is definitely tied to the user. So if you create a report with your sign in, nobody's gonna be able to mess with that report. Of course, no one other than you can access it. That's the downside too. So anyone have any questions about any aspects of the Simple Reporter? Any other comments?
Thank you for
Oh.
showing us the breakdown of this, Tony. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're more than
Yeah.
welcome.
Thank you, Tony. I think as we all sort of start using it, February, March, and April, we'll probably pick up a lot more, but I really appreciate the basic introduction to how to get into the Simple Reporter and how to use it. It was very useful.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
So will
If
this,
yeah, go ahead. I'm so sorry. Yes.
this won't affect any of our current saved reports or templates or anything like that, correct?
No,
Okay.
no, it will not in any way, shape, or form affect that. Everything you have in regular reports is still going to be there.
Great, thank you much.
You're welcome. So, if there are no other questions, I'll entertain a motion to end the meeting.
Brief and to the point, I love it.
Okay. I'll take that as a motion. And I will wish you all a wonderful rest of the day. Our next meeting is on February the 9th at 2 p.m. And I'm sure I'll come up with something to talk about then. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Tony. See you then.
Thank you, Tony.
Welcome. Thank you.